Started. What's up, everyone? So, haven't been on in a while. Well, I guess last week, a week ago Friday, with Tim Pierce in LA, back here in Atlanta. It's been a long week. Phoenix, then to Sedona, then to Jerome or Cottonwood, actually, for Maynard interview. Then driving from Phoenix back to Phoenix, and then to LA, and then the interview or the show in LA, and then back here. Obviously, the my Seattle show was the week before, which is when I did the interviews with Matt Cameron, and then the one I just released with Krist Novoselic, Kim Thayil, and Jack Endino. Give you a little backstory on these things. A lot of people have been asking me about it, and you know how these things come about, and just what I'm trying to do with these interviews. First of all, I like to do a little hey Subi, like to do. My voice is a little bit messed up right now. I still have a little laryngitis, I think, from doing these shows. That show that I did last Saturday, it screwed up my voice a little bit just from talking 2 hours straight. So, but it feels pretty good right now. I'm gonna drink a little bit more coffee there. Couple house cleaning things. I'm gonna continue my Beato Ultimate Bundle sale. That's all of my educational products. It's at rickbeato.com. It's my ear training course. There are 80 video lessons, hundreds of interactive training modules you can use and practice in your browser, and there's a 27-page PDF that goes with it. My Beato Book Interactive. Anybody that's bought my Beato book, any of the 4 versions before this, you can upgrade. You write through the website, beatobook.com. But if you are a new part of the bundle is my Beato Book Interactive. It's a 500-page music theory textbook, which has a complete browser-based course with video and audio materials. There are lectures. There's all different types of things, and there's audio content for everything. And my Quick Lessons guitar course. You guys have seen me here on Shorts or on Instagram doing my quick lessons, and this is a 5 hours of content of those quick lessons, along with tab and Guitar Pro files and things like that. So all those for $99. That's like $178 off. And it's my way of giving back. And basically, this is how I pay for going out and doing these interviews. Let me go back to the Seattle interview first. Matt Cameron and the Nirvana Soundgarden. So the connection that I have with those guys, Chris from Nirvana, knew that I was a big fan. He knows I'm a big fan of Nirvana. Obviously, I've done multiple Nirvana videos over the years, and he sent me some music, reached out to me back in 2019, and sent me some of the music that he was doing then, Giants in the Trees records, and we corresponded back then, and he kind of has kept me up with knowing that I'm a big fan, the things that he's been doing for the with musically over the years. Kim was I met Matt Cameron. We've corresponded over the last year or 2 years, something like that, and I've wanted to have Matt on the channel for a long time. We talked about doing a video kind of like we did actually, but it was going to be a different thing. And then I thought, after I did the Bernard Purdy interview, I thought that that would be a better thing. I'm always trying to figure out how to do these interviews where you get interaction, and for people that don't know the groups, you, instead of talking about a song and there's no context, and then me playing the song, inserting it later on, and then they're not hearing it. It's better to play the music in the interview so that they can hear it and then they can react to that. So that's kind of my theory. I did it in the Bernard Purdy interview that I did, and that worked really well. And that way the people can talk about their music, or he can demonstrate things that he played. So I thought that that worked really well. And then the interview with Chris and Kim and Jack and Endino, I scheduled that for the next day. And preparing for these things is I always say, well, I've been preparing for these forever. What do I need to know to ask people whose music I've been listening to for 30 years, right? Whether it's Maynard, whether it's and Tool, a Perfect Circle. I had Billy Howardell in here for an interview a month ago. Billy, how long you think?
Probably 2 months.
2 months ago, which is on my channel. I had, and I've known Billy for a few years. I did the breakdown of Weak and Powerless. You guys know I've done multiple Tool breakdowns. What Makes the Sun Great. And I was able to connect with Maynard and set up the interview. And Maynard's a difficult, these bands have so much history, so many records. Matt Cameron was in Temple of the Dog, Soundgarden, and Pearl Jam now, right? And it's like, okay, what do you talk about for someone that has recorded 20 records, maybe more than that? I don't even know, Chris, the Nirvana preparation is easier. Obviously, there are less Nirvana records. They have their new band, Third Secret, that Jack Endino produced. And Jack is, I've been familiar with Jack's work from Skinyard, the band he was in, to all the records that he produced early on in Seattle. I've been a huge fan of his. But Maynard has Tool, right? Multiple Tool records, 5, 6 Tool records. Perfect Circle, about the same amount. Puscifer, about the same amount. It's so there's a lot of material. I know these records, but what do you talk about with them, right? And this is kind of my the theory of how do you do an interview of people that have really diverse backgrounds, or that have a tremendous amount of music. And what you do, at least what I do, is you ask them questions that only they can answer. They were the ones in the room. I like to know about the writing process, about the recording process. First person accounts that are historical, either with Matt, how did you come up with this drum part? Tell me what you're thinking. What is your theory behind that? What do you remember from these things? Now, a lot of these guys, things I'm asking them about are from 30 years ago. Do people remember? Do I remember sessions that I played in 30 years ago? I did sessions in 1991, and I remember vague things from them. I remember funny things. I did a session at this studio called Pyramid Sound in Ithaca in 1992. And the only thing that I remember really from the session, one of the only things, is watching an interview on MTV with Sting, where he said that when you put out a record, you want to have at least a couple flagship tunes, okay? I used that memory from then when I interviewed Sting. So Yet, if you ask me anything about the session, anything about the recording, I mean, I vaguely remember what the studio looked like and things like that. So, most musicians, it's difficult for them to remember where they were, unless it's a Brian May. Now, when I talk to Brian May, Brian has been been interviewed many times over the years with these things, talking about Night at the Opera, Bohemian Rhapsody. The movie came out, so he's obviously well versed in the historical, what he was doing then, because they had just made the movie about that the year before, and that kind of refreshes your memory with that. But so the interviews, then the one that I thought was going to be the most difficult. Well, I didn't know about with Maynard. I've never heard him talk about his process of songwriting. But I had read his interview with Joni Mitchell from 1995. I know a lot of things about him that I've read over the years, but I was curious if he's, to how he thinks about songwriting. And I know from experience that most bands that are bands will write the musical parts first and assemble them, and then they always leave it up to the singer to basically fit their lyrics around what they've come up with, which is kind of what he was talking about. So it's that is I kind of knew what he was going to say. I kind of had an idea what he was going to say. It's really interesting, though. He has a very diverse musical background. Fascinating. Really, really interesting. Some people asked me, I was reading in the comments, a couple of people said on the Nirvana Soundgarden interview, I wish you would release everything that you edited. I want to see the whole thing unedited. It's like, what are you talking about? That's pretty much the whole interview. We stopped at one point because I said to the camera crew that I hired, I said, excuse me, to the guys. I said, hey, do you guys need to change to stop for a second and change the camera, the cards out or whatever? And they did. And I wanted to just check the director's cut, Jimmy says on here. They said, do you need to do that? And during that, they actually readjusted the camera on me and told me that they didn't get a good intro. I kind of clipped the intro when we were starting, so we reshot my introduction of the guys. You'll notice on the Maynard interview, I had a problem with Maynard's. We had a problem with the lavaliers. The first 8 minutes, we had some really bad interference. I don't know what with, but had to make do with it. There was some type of electrical interference with it. I don't know if it came from the kitchen. I don't know where. It doesn't matter. But I fixed it as well as I could. And then it seemed to level itself off right about 8 minutes and 2 seconds or so. But the idea of throwing things out there and a question, and then let people answer, and don't interrupt them and try and direct the conversation. I listen to what they say, and then I respond to what they say. And I will throw in questions that I'm interested in, and I figure, Well, I'm like a regular listener, and I'm a fan of all these groups. I want to know, and being a music producer and a songwriter myself, not on their level. Uh, I I um, I ask them things that I would like to know as a producer, as a songwriter. So, uh, and that's it. I mean, that's really kind of the that's my concept. And I do interviews with people whose music I really like. That is the uh, that's a big part of this is I don't just do interviews with anybody. I do interviews with people that I'm fans of, and a lot of times it's people that I'm fans of and friends with. Um, Whether it's I saw Ward Carroll in here or Mateus Asado or Tosin Abasi or Aaron Marshall, whoever's coming through town here. I've got some people coming through that are touring that I'll have interviews with coming up. One of which I haven't even told Billy about. Remind me, Billy. Um, I have a really big interview that these are all big interviews, but one coming up that I wish I could tell you about, but I'm very excited about it, and I've been preparing for that. Once again, it's somebody, a legendary person who has a incredibly deep um, catalog of music, and this is I want to make sure that I get the right questions, uh, that I ask the right questions. So that's the I see people writing in here, Jerry Cantrell, Dave Grohl, and people like that. I hopefully will get to interview them. It's difficult to set things up. Some people are not touring. I have to go to the places where they are in some of these things. I pay out of my own pocket. These are all self-funded. I hire camera crews in the, in these places where I'm going. The crew that I hired in Seattle is run by was I found through my friend Court, who knew Eddie, Eddie was the one that put the whole crew together and ran the show, and it was, it's a big it's a big operation to try and coordinate these crew. And I have my friend Mike Loy, who works on the live shows with me, and Mike helps coordinate all this stuff. So it's basically on these things, it's Mike and I are coordinating everything, and then with the camera crews, and then I talk with the musicians, and it's so that's kind of how that has been working. But it was strange to release two interviews in the same week. Um, the the Soundgarden Nirvana one with Kim and Krist and Jack, that was tricky. There was a lot of there were three. It was three cameras, and doing the camera switches for editing is difficult. Um, Parker, look at Parker. Look at that. Look at your guesses. Um, this is where I want to take the channel. I've talked about that for really for the last year as I started doing these. I started taking it more seriously, I would say, with beginning with my Ron Carter interview. I've done interviews beforehand. I started with Steve Vai. If you go way back in my channel, there are interviews with Steve Vai, John Petrucci, Jordan Rudess, Gary Husband, drummer, played with Alan Holdsworth and played keyboards with Mahavishnu, John McLaughlin. There's Marty Friedman. There's many, many, many interviews from back then that have very few views. People don't know because you have to go back. You have to know specifically to search them on my channel, and you will, just many, many interviews. I need to put them on. I think I have an interview playlist. I'm pretty sure I have an interview playlist. I got to make sure it's updated with the new things. I don't know. If I've put the new ones in there. I think I clicked them in there, but I'll put them. I'll put them in, and it's what I think is really cool is that you guys appreciate the longer form content, and I don't really have a hesitancy of putting out a video that's an hour and 41 minutes long. That's how long the Chris and Kim video was. The Matheny one was my longest, hour and 46 minutes. But I like the fact that that I don't even think about that. That's not an issue of the timing of it like that. I keep seeing people in here. Steven Wilson. I'm gonna interview Steven. I'm trying to schedule it now. So that's I saw him come up many times in the chat here. I see the Derek Trucks interview in there. That happened spur of the moment, though. He was in town. His manager called me, and that's how that happened. So, most of the people that you have in the comments here, when you say, is there a possibility? Of course there's a possibility with pretty much all of these. Everybody in there. Okay, I had some super chats. Eric, wish I could have treated you to lunch in Cottonwood. You live 5 minutes from there. No way. How about an interview with Butch Vig? Yeah, I'd love to interview Butch Vig. I would love to interview Butch Vig. Mr. No Ride. You think interview? Yeah, Eddie, STP. Rob and Dean from STP, I know, and I plan to do an interview with them. So that's definitely going to happen. And the rest of the guys, I would say, will probably happen at some point. Let's see. Steve threw up. Killer interviews. Well done. It's great that you just let them talk and keep it organic. Terrence, love your content, Rick. Michael, thank you for everything you're doing for music. You're very welcome. Yeah, so that's kind of there is no theory except don't interrupt people when they're trying to make a point, and talk about things that only they can answer. So that's really the key is to if you want to create historical. I mean, nobody is around forever. Joey DeFrancesco passed away this week, and I was a massive fan of his. 51 years old, young guy, so talented, or jazz organist. If you don't know Joey, well, multi-instrumentalist really, but absolutely phenomenal player. Oh, so good. Tragic. 51 years old, passed away. Definitely someone that I would love to have interviewed, who I never even got to hear play live. And so I feel that there's a responsibility that I have that with having a having a channel with a lot of subscribers that I have, that it's a responsibility to tell the story of these artists of all different genres, jazz, rock, classical music, as much as I can, with first person interviews for people in the future, that are going to be interested in this historically. And most people that interview are not musicians, and they don't ask questions of musicians. They're interviewers or whatever. They work for music magazines or they do whatever, and they just go and try and find whatever kind of dirt or whatever they can, sensational things that they pick out, personal things that they talk about without ever asking about the music. I want to know about the music. I want to know about the songs. I want to know how they were written. I want to know about their rehearsal spaces. I want to know about if they played with a click track or not in the studio. I want to know their impression of the songs. Now, I said to Maynard, I told him my story about Joni when I had dinner with her, and I said, I asked her about her favorite record. I've said it on here many times, and it's her favorite record, production and songwriting. So this is kind of a different thing. And I said that she said it was Hajira and not Hissing of Summer Lawns. What was it? Court and Spark. And he immediately says, well, she's wrong. It was Blue. I was like, yes. I thought that was funny that he said that. Well, she's wrong. And that was that's coming from a huge Joni Mitchell fan, Maynard, right? So, but I wanted to get it from Joni. Will we ever see a new Traveling Wilburys? Oh boy, I don't know. Missing a couple people, so probably not. Like a new one idea with people like that, of that stature, probably not. Paul says, great interview, Rick. Content's great. Watch all the time. Keep the videos coming. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate that. So that's the, that's the idea behind this. I'm trying to do a few of these a month, and keep my content going and still make teaching content, right? It is, that's the other mission of the channel, is teaching people, which is why, go to my rickbeato.com if you want to improve yourself as a musician. I have a sale going on, my ultimate bundle, my Beato Book Interactive, my ear training program, and my quick lessons guitar program, all for $99. And that is a ridiculous deal. And the money that goes from that, not only does it go to help you improve as a musician and understand more of the things I'm talking about in my videos, but it also goes to pay for these interviews. Because, like I said, I don't take any money I don't have any sponsors or anything. My Gibson guitar that I have coming out on September 13th, everybody keeps asking me that. All the money that I make from it is going to be donated to Save the Music, which is a music charity that Gibson works with, that helps music programs. I have a video coming out about that. I'll release that on the day that the guitar is released. And people always ask me or say things like, oh, you should have your own show on blah, 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 some, HBO or Netflix. And it's like, no. I have it on YouTube because YouTube is free. That's why. And I want people to be able to watch these things whenever. Somebody says Rick sounds low energy today. Rick has a little bit of laryngitis right now. That's why. I'm high energy Rick with a low speaking voice. So I couldn't talk really the last couple days. It's free for now. Well, it's, you can pay for people that complain about the ads. When I play music in the videos, I played music in the Soundgarden video with Matt. I played music in the Nirvana video. Those videos are demonetized. Right? I'm not making any money from those videos. So it's, which is fine, which is fine. You can donate on my channel too. I have a donate button on my rickbeato.com. If you'd like to donate, you donate it through Super Chat here, or if you want to donate through my website, you can do that too to support this. It's interesting. I put a comment on my on the last couple of videos. I didn't earlier videos I got more donations for to help offset the cost, but for some reason I did not get very many on these. I don't know why, but it's traveling across the country, hiring camera crews and stuff like that is it's not cheap. Anyways, but I really appreciate it, and people that complain about ads in these videos. If I play music in it, I'm not making the money and I have no control over it. If I'm Bob, thank you so much for the cause. If I'm not playing music in it and there are ads, I'm not playing music in this live stream and there are ads on the live stream when you're watching it, you can either get an ad blocker or you can buy YouTube Premium, and that money goes to, so that you don't get ads, right? Lane, your interviews are great, Rick. Nardwar, oh yeah, our best interviews in music. Let's see. Billy, great singing in Seattle, great interviews. How about my Q&A question, Tamber? Oh, you're the one. Billsy. That was a great question. Appreciate that. Thank you for coming to it too, by the way. All right, you guys are awesome. Leave your comments in the comments section. Like I said, I've got some other big interviews coming up. Thank you, Mike. And I have more content coming out this week. All right. Great rest of your weekend, everybody. Take care.